Just a quick one, guys, before we get into today's video. We do have a lot of Rangers t-shirts available on our website. Do browse the collection by going to either rfcclothing.com or going down into the link in the description. Let's get into today's video. And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope you're all well. Before we do get into today's video, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. So we are pretty much here now towards the end of the season. Rangers haven't really got anything to play for domestically in the league, as Celtic have pretty much won the title. Rangers have really got one key game that we're all sort of pinning our hopes on, and that's of course the Scottish Cup semi-final that's happening later this month. But apart from that, everybody, I think, as Rangers fans, can't wait for the end of the season to sort of come around and we can get excited as to what can happen next season. We are getting our hopes builded by Michael Beale joining the football club. We've liked the new signings that he's brought in, the way that he's playing, the way that he's winning games, and as I said, we're looking towards the summer where we will see a lot of players leave the football club, but equally see loads of new faces join, and then it will be about trying to set ourselves up for next season and try and go on and win the league. However, it's not all doom and gloom for this season. Rangers still have qualified for the Champions League by finishing second in the Scottish Premiership, and at this point in the season we can start to see who Rangers could play in those European qualifiers. If you remember last season, second place in the SPFL gets you qualified for the third qualifying round, and then Rangers would have to navigate two-legged ties for a place in the Champions League group stage. Similar to last season, remember, we played Union Saint-Gilles in the third qualifying round and then played PSV Eindhoven in the playoff round. Now, as I was stating upon there, we are at the start of the end of the season now, and we can start to see which teams are finishing in the European places throughout Europe's leagues, and we can get an idea on who Rangers' best case scenarios, who they could play in the qualifiers, and their worst case scenarios that they can play in the qualifiers. In this video, I'm going to explain the qualifiers themselves, Rangers' dream scenario and who they could play in the qualifiers, and then of course the nightmare scenario and who Rangers can play in the qualifier, and also talk and give you the reason why Rangers could be in pot 3 in the Champions League group stage and be ranked ahead of Celtic should they qualify. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff with regards to Rangers and the Champions League in this video. Okay, so starting with the qualifiers itself, as I said, Rangers will go into the third qualifying round. If Rangers lose any of their qualifying rounds in the summer at the start, just in case they don't show up, which we have seen a couple of times in recent years, then Rangers will be guaranteed Europa League group stage football no matter what. Even if they lose the third qualifying round, they won't go in playoff round for the Europa League. They're guaranteed Europa League group stage football, which is a positive. I love the Europa League. It's still a good place to be as a backup option in terms of finances as well. So that's some fairly positive news there. Rangers will also be seeded for the third qualifying round most likely, and the teams that they can sort of play in there will obviously depend on who comes through the second qualifying rounds. Obviously a lot of teams in like the sort of Serbian leagues and all the rest of it will come in at the second qualifying round, and who Rangers could play, it depends on who gets through. But I'll give you the worst case scenario on who Rangers could get in the third qualifying round, and that is going to be looking towards French Ligue 1. There's currently a battle for third place in that league at the moment with Marseille, Monaco, Lens all going for it. It's very, very tight, and this one will probably go to the wire. But at this case, the worst case scenario on who Rangers could get in the third qualifying round will be AS Monaco. Look, they usually do go quite far with any European competition they are in. And equally, Marseille, should they finish third, would also be a very, very hard tie to navigate, especially in that third qualifying round. But that is the worst case scenario for the third qualifying round. Now, in terms of the best case scenario, as I said, there is a lot of teams that will probably go in at the second qualifying round, like Dnipro from Ukraine, Union Saint-Gilles again in Belgium, Panathinaikos or AEK Athens in Greece. Those sorts of teams will go into the second qualifying round. So depending on what happens there, will then create the outlay for the third qualifying round. However, the best case scenario at this moment in time is Swiss side Servette. They're currently second in the Swiss Super League, 17 points behind Young Boys, and are pretty much destined to finish second in that league, and they should be an option for a third qualifying round berth against Rangers. So they are the best case scenario team. Now, should Rangers get through to the third qualifying round, they then go to the business side, which is the playoff round. We know how hard this one is. It is also where the team gets the Champions League patches. The Champions League anthem will be played at both stadiums, and Rangers will be guaranteed at least £5 million, win or lose, from this stage of the competition. So it is important. It is a proper game. It is, as I say, worth £5 million even if you lose. So especially for a Scottish team, it is important we at least get to that stage. Now, as I say, you're going to start to see more of the Champions League regulars come in at this stage as well. And the worst case scenario on who Rangers can play at this stage is Ajax Amsterdam. Look, Ajax Amsterdam don't need any introduction. We played them, got humped by them twice in the Champions League group stages, although there should be context added to that. You know, we had so many injuries and all the rest of it. So I don't think it's fair to make that comparison. But look, we know how good Ajax are. They are currently having an off season at the moment. They are currently battling out for second place with PSV Eindhoven. The level on points. It looks like Feyenoord are going to be winning that league. But should they finish second, they will go in at this stage. And that is probably the worst case scenario that Rangers could get at this stage. Rangers at this level, depending on the teams, if Ajax are there, it's likely that Rangers will be unseeded for it and will play someone like Ajax. But there's also other teams in there as well, like RB Salzburg, and FC Porto could be a potential one, depending on what happens in the final few games of the Portuguese Premier Liga. So yeah, as I said, there is a lot of tough teams at this level. But in terms of the dream scenario, in terms of the best case scenario on who we could get, it's probably Serbian side TSC Baka Topola. Now, there is a shock in the Serbian league this year. Red Star Belgrade, as you probably know, they're already top of the league, and they'll go in at a decent level. But at second place at the moment is TSC Baka Topola, who have a stadium attendance of around 4,500. And this would definitely be the best case scenario of Rangers should they get to this stage of the competition. So there you go. There's sorts of the teams that Rangers could probably play. Hopefully, I gave you a bit of an idea on who Rangers could play. Obviously, there's a lot of things that could change between now and the end of the season, but we have got a bit of an idea of who they can be. Look, it's going to be tough to get through the qualifiers, of course. We see it every single year. However, last season did prove that Rangers are more than capable of doing it, and we have got a lot of some European scamps from our escapades in the Europa League over the last few years as well. So we should take confidence from that, and with Michael Beale's new signings as well, it's not going to be this team going up against these sorts of teams as well. So that's going to be very, very interesting. Now, in terms of actually getting to the Champions League itself, there is some exciting news as well. The way the leagues are positioned at the moment, that Rangers, should they get into the Champions League group stage, they could go into pot 3 and rank above Celtic. Celtic are guaranteed Champions League group stage football for winning the SPFL. However, because of their European ranking, they aren't really ranked that high, so will go in at pot 4, guaranteed, really. Because of Rangers, as I say, European performances over the years, the way the leagues are set at the moment, if Rangers go through the qualifiers, there's a good chance that the Gers could be in pot 3 and take more of a seeded position and maybe avoid going up against some really tough teams. As you see in pot 3, you'll miss a Premier League side, you'll miss an Italian side as well. So, and then you'll get the chance of maybe playing some of the smaller sides from a pot 4 and then maybe get a chance to get into the Europa League and finish third. So it is important that Rangers do get pot 3 because it could be well worth it. But there you go, guys. That does bring us to the end of today's video. My question for you today, though, is do you want Champions League group stage football next season? As I said, I want it just because Celtic have got it. We need to keep up with their finances. That's it. I don't actually want to be in the Champions League, especially after last year. I just got absolutely bored of it. I love the Europa League. Dream scenario for me is Champions League group stage, finish third and go into the Europa League and go on a run. I hate post-Christmas, no European football. But yeah, the pressure's there. We have to get Champions League football just to keep up with Celtic in terms of the finances. We know how much is at stake. But yeah, Rangers fans, what do you think with regards to it? Do you prefer the Champions League or do you prefer the Europa League? Let me know your thoughts thoughts down there in the comment section below. We've also got loads of Rangers t-shirts available on our website, so do browse the collection by going down into the link in the description or go to rfcclothing.com. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Peace.